I want to share with you a few minutes my Christmas message for 2017, and I've called this The Gift That Keeps on Giving. No doubt you have heard that slogan or that tagline over the years on numerous commercials on radio and television, The Gift That Keeps on Giving. It refers to a present that continues to give great joy and satisfaction over an extended period of time, rather than a gift that's kind of like a one-off, a little bit like chocolate. And some of you might be thinking, no, chocolate keeps on giving. Well, you don't know what it's like in my house. Because I don't just have a wife who, incidentally, celebrated her 50th birthday yesterday, and we celebrated last night and gave her a gift here at Bayside, but I also have 3 daughters. Enough said. Because chocolate does not last long. You know, Dad, could you get us a packet of Tim Tams? And I say, yeah, just have one, and let's make these last. But really, seriously, just need to get it into my head that it's pointless saying any such thing like that, because they will go in one sitting. And the same with a bar of chocolate, doesn't matter how big it is, and a box of chocolate. It is not the gift that keeps on giving. It ends really, really fast, and usually before I get any. Come on, let's have a little sympathy going on here this morning. Thank you. But there is a gift that keeps on giving. In fact, there are many gifts in that way. The slogan was first used in the early 1920s, so almost 100 years ago. Victor Radios used it to promote one of their latest products, one of their latest radios. One ad campaign read as follows. When you go to your Victor dealers to hear the 3 models of Victor Radio, you will find them beautiful, compact, and soundly built, as become Victor instruments. You will recognize them as the gift that keeps on giving, a royal gift at a very low price. I'm Rob Buckingham. During the 1928 Christmas season, Hotpoint ran ads that we could not use anymore. We wouldn't use them, and it said something like this: give mother what she really wants this season. This all-white Hotpoint electric range, a gift that keeps on giving. The inference, ladies, is that you continue to do what you're supposed to do in the place you're supposed to do it, the kitchen. Do not try that at home, gentlemen. This slogan has been used ever since to promote various items, including cameras, magazine subscriptions, jewelry, coloured TVs. More recently, it's been used to sell computer games and also a toilet deodorizer called VI Poo. Everything within me wanted to show you the commercial this weekend. But one of my staff members in particular had a reality check and suggested that we didn't show it. But if you have a sense of humour like mine, 2 things. Number 1, I feel sorry for you. And secondly, go to YouTube and type in VI Poo and enjoy it. The gift that keeps on giving was beautifully depicted recently by a news story. You may have seen it over the last couple of weeks. A lady by the name of Kate McClure was driving home late one night, just a couple of weeks or a few weeks ago, in Philadelphia, and her car ran out of petrol on an interstate highway late at night and in a very dangerous part of town. And so she was sitting there in her car, really not sure what she was going to do, feeling terribly unsafe. And little did she know that there was a homeless man nearby. His name is Johnny Bobbitt. And he saw what was going on and was concerned for her. And so he spent his last $20 on going to a petrol station and getting a can of juice, I should say, and bringing it and then knocking on her window and say, I've got petrol for you. And he put the petrol in her car and she was able to drive home. Kate and her boyfriend, Mark, were so impressed with this homeless man doing such a sacrificial deed, giving such an amazing gift, that they have now done something pretty amazing for Johnny. They started a crowdfunding page online, and if you go online, you can see some interviews that Mark and Kate have done with Johnny. One of the interviews was when they'd only raised $1,700, And in his beautiful southern drawl, he said, wow, this is really going to change my life. They've now raised over $250,000 to help this homeless man, all out of a tank of petrol, a can of petrol worth $20. He didn't do that, I'm sure, thinking, my goodness, this is going to keep on giving, but that's exactly what has taken place. And this guy, I don't know why he's homeless. He's a military vet. He was a former Marine. He was a firefighter. He was a paramedic. Something happened in his life that we don't know about that caused him to be homeless, but because of an act of sacrifice, he now finds himself with these two friends called Mark and Kate, who are going to purchase a house for him with the proceeds of this money. They're going to set him up, and they're going to help him to get a job and get back on track. Isn't that wonderful? You never know what's going to happen when you give a gift, especially a gift that keeps on giving. And that's like the Christmas gift, the gift of Christmas, the gift of Jesus. The tradition of giving gifts at Christmas is based on the three gifts given by a number of wise men. As recorded by the Bible, it says they opened their treasures and they presented to Jesus gifts of gold and myrrh and frankincense. Not like I heard one person say at one point in time, gold and myrrh and Frankenstein. He was not the wise man. In fact, I think maybe he had a screw loose. The people of the East, where these wise men were from, probably an area like modern-day Iraq, they never approached the presence of kings and great people without a significant present in their hands. These wise men, these magi, gave three significant gifts to Jesus and to his parents. In fact, these three things were the most valuable items from the country that these wise men came from. The gift of gold was their recognition that Jesus, this little baby, was a king. The gift of frankincense was an acknowledgement that Jesus would be the high priest for all people. Under the Jewish law, the high priest would represent the people of Israel in the presence of God annually. And yet the Bible tells us that Jesus became a great high priest, not just to represent the people of one nation, but to represent the people of all nations to a God who loves them. Jesus is your representative to a living and loving God, not just to bring his presence into you, but to bring you into his presence. The gift of myrrh recognized that Jesus would grow up and die for the sins of the world. Myrrh was used as a preserving embalmment for the dead back in those days, and it was also something that was mingled with wine to form a drink then that was given to people like Jesus when they were being crucified, a stupefying potion that would at least try and relieve some of their suffering. And so right at his birth, we are confronted by Jesus' death. The gifts of the wise men were gifts that keep on giving because they symbolize the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus that we can still benefit from today. The gift that keeps on giving. One of the most loved Christmas songs is the 12 Days of Christmas. Many of you, if not all of you, will have heard this or maybe even sung it over the years. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. And off it goes. It dates back to 1780. It originated in a children's book. And no doubt some of the gifts that are spoken of in the song were easier to procure back in 1780. The lover in the song obviously thought that his true love deserved various birds, particularly birds. He had a fascination and a preoccupation with birds. Also trees and musicians and leaping lords and golden rings. I'll stick with the golden rings, thanks. Someone's done a calculation of what all of these things would be worth today, and they come in at around $45,000. Not a bad gift, a very nice Christmas gift. Still, the real message of Christmas is not the gifts that we give to each other, but rather it's a reminder of the gift of grace in Jesus that God has given to each of us. The gift that isn't given because we deserve it, but rather because he considers us to be his true love. And all it requires of us is to say what anyone should say when they receive a gift, and that is thank you, because Jesus is the gift that keeps on giving. The gift that Jesus really, really wants at this Christmas. And I often find it bizarre because Christmas represents the birthday of Jesus Christ, and we all give gifts to each other. I want you to imagine this scenario that your birthday party and your guests are arriving and they walk through the door and they're holding these gifts and you're sitting there or standing there in anticipation because you know it's your birthday and this gift has got to be for you, and they walk right past you with just a nod and they give the gift to somebody else. That's weird. Thinking, okay, well maybe that's just them, they're a little odd. So the next people come in and they do exactly the same, and this keeps going on. And everyone's giving gifts to everyone but the person whose birthday it is, and yet that's what happens sometimes at Christmas time. We give the gifts to everybody else rather than gifts to Jesus. The gift that Jesus wants is you. The gift that Jesus wants is me. 40 years ago today, I gave my life as a gift to Jesus as a 19-year-old, 40 years ago. That was a gift that I gave to him, and he gave his gift of grace and life to me, and I've been loving him and serving him ever since. Amen. There's other ways we can give gifts too, though. There's a wonderful story that Jesus told in Matthew chapter 25, and I'll finish with this. In Matthew 25, he talked to a group of people who were doing good things for people like Johnny Bobbitt, the homeless man. People that were on the edge of society, people that were in suffering, people that were in difficulty. He mentioned people that were hungry and thirsty. He mentioned the homeless and the outcast, the poor and the sick, as well as those who visited prisoners. Jesus then made this stunning statement, which really is the bedrock of many of the things that we do as a church. He said, "Truly I tell you, whatever you do for one of these people, the homeless, the marginalized, the people on the edge of society, the people who are suffering and going through difficulties, whatever you do for one of these people, you do it for me." If we want to give Jesus a gift, they're not just giving him ourselves, but also doing something for someone just like Kate and Mark did for Johnny Bobbitt in the USA. That's why we do our Christmas lunch here at Bayside Church. For the last 25 years, this year is the 25th year we've done our Christmas lunch. Now we do it on Christmas Eve, but for 23 years we did it on Christmas Day. And it all started because someone had a vision of this verse, "Truly I tell you, whatever you do for one of these people, you do it for me." And so every year for 25 years, we've given the gift of hospitality and love and warmth and delicious food to people that are homeless and marginalized and lonely and just doing life tough. Every week, twice a week at Chelsea and Cheltenham, we do our Matt's Place feeding program. Over the last 10 years, we have given out, again, to people that are on the edge of society so often, over 100,000 hot meals. Next year, we will continue to do these things as well as other things as part of our vision for 2018, where we do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. We're giving gifts to Jesus in lots of ways next year. If you have never given your life as a gift to Jesus, can I encourage you to do it this Christmas? God bless you.
Make sure you don't miss anything Bayside. Download the app today and keep up with messages, events and blogs delivered right to your phone. Go to baysidechurch.com.au/app to download today.